Hello everyone and welcome back to the Football Forecast. And today's going to be going through my European football predictions for the upcoming fixtures. And a key with this is that I'm not going to talk about Premier League fixtures because there is already a separate video available on the YouTube channel now where I discussed every Prem fixture. So after you watch this one, if you're interested in Premier League football, then watch that one after as well. So starting off with Barcelona versus Deportivo Alaves. And look, Barcelona should have enough quality to get the job done in this game. They were poor against Chelsea, like really terrible to be honest. But then they were pretty good against Athletic Club. In fact, they were excellent against Athletic Club. So this is what you get with Barca. You get those inconsistent performances. But I think at home in the new Camp Nou, they should be able to get a result in this game. I think that their star players like Yamal should be able to play better than he did against Chelsea. Cucurella absolutely locked him up, but he is one of the best left backs in the world. Marcus Rashford should be available and starting. You could potentially start Rafinha in this game. You've got to sort out that defence though, because that is a real concern for Barca still. And I do think they probably still concede a goal in this game. I'm going with a 3-1 win for Barcelona. So then we're heading over to Germany to discuss Leverkusen versus Dortmund. Now this is going to be an interesting fixture. Both sides have just played in the Champions League and won games. Leverkusen going away to Manchester City and winning. Look, it was still a weaker side by Manchester City, but it's still a really impressive result. Borussia Dortmund winning 4-0 against Villarreal at home. So both sides are confident going into this game. And this is probably the two best sides in the Bundesliga apart from Bayern Munich. I'm going to go with a draw for this game. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Next, we are heading over to Italy to discuss Milan versus Lazio. And I think Milan go into this game as favourites. They've been very strong under Allegri so far this season. And they don't have to worry about multiple games a week. Neither do Lazio though. So it's a pretty balanced affair going into this game. I do think where Milan just have the advantage over other teams in Italy right now is Allegri. Allegri is very pragmatic and it's continuing to work in Serie A right now. As you get with Serie A, not the most high scoring league, not the most entertaining because of managers like Allegri, but they are effective. We saw this in the game against Inter. And I think this will give them the confidence going into this game against Lazio. And that's why I'm going to go over 1-0 win for Milan, a classic AC Milan performance for this game and a classic performance under Allegri. So then we're on to the Seville derby between Sevilla and Real Betis. And for me, this has the perfect making of a derby. And that is because that Seville are at home and they are 5 points behind Real Betis. As well as this, Real Betis have just played a game in Europe, which means that is slightly weaker going into this game, having just played an extra game of football. And that's what the perfect making is, because that should have made it pretty much on level field ground. And for that reason, I actually think I can see a draw in this game. I'm going to go in a 1-1 draw between the two sides from Seville. To give some background around this derby, which I like to do, especially when it's a derby between two sides in the same city. Sevilla was the first club founded in 1905, and they were founded by people that were upper class or elite. Real Betis was founded 2 years later by working class people in 1907, and ever since then there's been a massive split between the two sides because of this class difference. So then we're heading back to Italy to discuss the intercity derby between Roma and Napoli. And this derby wasn't really a huge derby before sort of recently. At the start, they were two sides that were very much, I guess, together against the sort of northern sides of Italy. But recently, because of some violence, because of the two sides getting really competitive and being, I guess, competing for titles and stuff like that, it's become a bit more of a heated encounter. Looking at the game, these are two sides that are pretty solid defensively, more defence-first sides as you do see in Italy. And for me, that means this could be a very low-scoring game. And I don't think either side will really want to lose this game. You've got Roma, who are currently in first place, and you've got Napoli, who are currently in third place. Whoever wins this game could go top of Serie A. And I do think this game is going to be quite interesting in terms of the tactical battle, but probably not the freest game to watch. I'm actually going to go with a 0-0 draw. I don't think either side will want to lose this game, and that's sort of going to be reflected in what we watch. If there are goals in this game, I think it would be either 1-0 Roma, 1-0 Napoli, or maybe a 1-1 draw. I don't see many more goals than that. Then we've got Girona, Real Madrid, and look, Real Madrid should have way too much quality in this game. I get it, sometimes away games in LaLiga can be difficult, but Girona currently lie 18th place in the league, and I do think this should be a simple win for Real Madrid, and that is what's going to be reflected in my score prediction. I'm going with a 3-1 win for Real Madrid. I do think they may concede in this game because they've got Rudiger, Carvajal, Alaba, Dean Huijsen and Militao and potentially Courtois out for this game. And this is an issue though that Real Madrid have had to deal with for now 2 or 3 years, and it continues to pop up for Real Madrid. And you just wonder what can they actually do with this, because they actually have signed a lot of centre-halves and fullbacks to cover for this, but they still just seem to always have so many defenders injured. So then we're on to Cup and League games that are midweek. The reason I'm covering them in this video is because in the next video, their games would have already occurred. So the first one is the Intercontinental Derby between Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. And this is one of my favourites. And this is because it's between two sides that are in different continents, but are both in Istanbul, either side of Istanbul. In Fenerbahce, you've got the Asian side. Galatasaray, you have got the European side. Galatasaray was formed once again by this idea of sort of higher class people, and Fenerbahce was formed more by lower class people, which has caused some hate and some distance between the two sides, and a huge culture difference because one is based in Asia and one is based in Europe. Fenerbahce are based in Asia, and that is where the game will be held. Looking at the game, and this is between the two bigger sides in Turkey, and no surprises that Galatasaray are 1 and Fenerbahce are 2. This is most likely going to be the top 2 going into the end of the season, and I think maybe Fenerbahce, the fact they're at home, may give them the advantage in this game over Galatasaray. Galatasaray potentially without Victor Osimhen for this game. They've also got some key players out potentially for Galatasaray. Fenerbahce, not as many injury concerns, and I think this may give Fenerbahce enough to get the result, and I'm going to go over 2-1 win for Fenerbahce. Then we're on to a game which we've basically already discussed, and this time it's Dortmund at home to Leverkusen in the Pokal. And when it's a cup competition, it's always a question around will sides decide to rest in this game. And with Dortmund and Leverkusen both playing many fixtures recently, they would have played 3 fixtures in 7 days up to this point. I do think that maybe they may be tempted to give the players a bit of a rest, but I do think Dortmund being at home may have the advantage going into this game, and I'm going to go with a Dortmund win for this game. I'm going to go over 2-1 win for Dortmund. So finally, we're finishing off with a big La Liga game between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid have been pretty impressive recently in La Liga, and they are looking like a side that maybe they could challenge Barcelona and Real Madrid. Their problem is they had a pretty poor start to the season, and I do think Atletico Madrid have the ability to challenge Barcelona in this game. Barcelona have continuing to show susceptibility on the counter-attack with pace in behind, and we saw last year Simeone got it absolutely spot on when he went away to Barcelona, and this was a way better Barcelona side that were playing a lot better, and they managed to win at the last minute, winning the game 2-1. And I think I can see a similar result with sort of how these two sides match up. I think there's going to be chances for Atletico Madrid to exploit Barca. We know Barca will go for this game and try and win the game. I'm going with an Atletico Madrid win. I'm going with a 2-1 win for Atletico Madrid. That is the end of this video. If there was any European predictions past the date of the Barca Atletico Madrid game, then they will be covered in the next video for European predictions. If there are any other ones that weren't past that date which you're interested, then let me know in the comments. Let me know what score prediction you're interested for that game, and I will respond to you. If you enjoy this, it would be great if you subscribe to this channel as well as liking the video.